is DaveNoseworthyMMA.
The world of MMA in this day and age moves very fast. It's hard to imagine at this point, but there was a time not so long ago when the norm was to have about 20 events a year. In those days, fans would wait for months in anticipation of seeing their favorite fighter compete or for a big fight card. Big fights and fan-favorite athletes had a lot of attention on them for longer periods of time, and in turn, at least in my opinion, it made the events feel that much more special. But over the years, as the sport has grown and evolved, the number of events has increased exponentially. 9 years ago, when Brock Lesnar was the heavyweight champion, Lyoto Machida was the light heavyweight champion, and Anderson Silva and GSP were in the thick of their title reigns, the number of annual events was 19. These days, we are going through about 43 events a year. Of course, we are dealing with a much larger roster, but with over double the amount of events and fights taking place, we are dealing with not just much less time to promote and to build anticipation for these fights, but less time to reflect and to unpack them in the aftermath. Because there's a high probability that there's going to be another event to look forward to the very following weekend. I don't want to come across as though I'm complaining. I'm someone who eats, sleeps, and breathes this sport, so I'm happy to consume much more of the product. If it were up to me, I would definitely reduce the number of events per year, but overall, I'm happy because I watch a meaningful percentage of all fight cards from the two big promotions. But if there's a drawback to having so many events in a year, I would have to say that it's the fact that many fighters are getting a lot less attention than they deserve. Even legends in this sport have upcoming fights that fly under the radar completely. Case in point, Vitor Belfort will compete in the UFC this weekend for the last time ever when he takes on Uriah Hall. And this is something I just found out a couple days ago. Not to say that there hasn't been any, but I personally haven't seen any promotion from the UFC and very little coverage in the media about this. But the word is that Belfort's on his final fight on his contract and he has no intentions on resigning with the UFC afterwards. I totally get and understand that these last 4 to 5 years of Belfort's career has been marred with PED and banned substances abuse issues, and that his legacy is most certainly going to be tarnished because of it. I understand if some fans aren't as high on him as they once were. I'd fall into that category myself, but despite all of that, I think he deserves the respect and the attention of the promotion, fans, and media because he is a true pioneer of this sport. This is a man that first stepped into the Octagon in 1997. That's over 20 years ago. And over the course of the past 20 years, he's gone on to fight and on many occasions beat other legends and pioneers of the sport, and most of the time in devastating fashion. His lightning-quick hand speed has given us fans 15 first-round stoppages. He has been in many high-profile fights versus the likes of Wanderlei Silva, Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, Alistair Overeem, Anderson Silva, Dan Henderson, John Jones, and more. If I were a betting man, I would bet that this isn't the last time we see Belfort compete, but the fact that this Sunday will be his very last time fighting in the UFC signals the end of an era. Vitor Belfort is one of the last remaining active fighters out there who was in the game from the very beginning, bare-knuckle, no-rules days until now, and to me this is very significant. We may not value it a whole lot right now, but I think history is going to be kind to Vitor Belfort for all that he's accomplished. He has had a storied career that we are now in the latter stages of. So, as hyped as I am to tune in to see Stevens Choi, it's Vitor Belfort's last walk to the Octagon that has me highly anticipating UFC Fight Night live from St. Louis.